In observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Axiom Pictures Limited would like to share with you from the perspective of a daughter of a breast cancer survivor. Stay tuned as Miss Georgianne Mullins talks with Miss Cheyenne Curry Gale as she gives us insight into more than 30 years journey with her mom and her diagnosis.
Hello, I am Georgianne Mullings. I am at Axiom Pictures Limited, and we are observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Here with me is Cheyenne Curry Gale, and she is the daughter of a breast cancer survivor. So thank you, Cheyenne, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So firstly, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, my name is Cheyenne Curry Gale. I'm happily married to Mark Gale for the last 15 years. And we have 3 beautiful children who I homeschool, and that's pretty much all that I do right now.
Okay, so your mother had cancer, right? Breast cancer.
That's right.
So, how did your mother having breast cancer affect your childhood and upbringing?
Okay, well, first of all, my mommy has had cancer 3 times. So the first time she had cancer was when I was only 1 year old. And at one, you can't really remember much. But what I do remember is what she said, in the past, and just how it affected her. And, one of the things that stood out to me back then is that, she came home after hearing, and I was 1, and I came running to her, and, she picked me up, and she was saying, "Oh my gosh, will I ever get to see my daughter grow up?" And being a mom now, I can understand that flood of emotions that must have gone through her mind at that point in time. Because of that, she was medically retired at a young age, which was great for us because, mom at home all the time to be able to be chauffeur, among other things. She was always at every single thing we had, supporting and stuff like that. And so that was good. And being 1, I don't really remember much. But
Right. So, how old were you when she was diagnosed the second time?
I was around 18 when she was diagnosed the second time. And that time was, of course, more scary.
So, you were 18 when she got diagnosed the second time with cancer. So, fill us in a little about what happened with the first cancer and the journey up to that point.
Okay, so I don't know all the details because, of course, I was only 1. But what I was told is that the treatment for her at that time was a lumpectomy and radiation. And in order to do radiation back then, I believe that radiation wasn't really popular in Jamaica at the time. Thankfully, she worked for Air Jamaica, and they had given her a free flight. And so she would fly to Miami to get treated and fly back, as often as she could, sometimes going up the morning and sometimes coming back the evening. I mean, thankfully, for family and stuff, my auntie was there the whole way, Auntie Carol, who was able to step in and help look after us when mommy had to leave and stuff like that. I remember something very important. Basically, she was treated and they said, "You should never become pregnant again," right? According to mommy and daddy, things they did. She became pregnant. And so everybody was like, "Abort, abort, abort," like seriously abort, your life is in danger. This is no time to play games. She had a Christian doctor at the time, Dr. Charles, and he was just like, medically, I must say, you should abort, but we know the God we serve, And someone was just like, exactly. So they went and they had a prayer meeting, and God spoke to him and said, "Because you're faithful enough to come and ask me, I will bless you with this child, a healthy child, and you will also have long life." And mommy said she didn't hear the long life part because she was just so grateful for a healthy child. But daddy's like, "I don't want any child without no mother." So she waited and he listened and got that part of the story.
So, now that you are an adult and a mother yourself, how has the experience impacted the way that you live your life now?
To be honest, it has not impacted me that significantly, but it is important to get checks regularly because my mom was younger than I when she had her first cancer. So, my doctors treat it very, it's very important. I have had to get mammograms earlier than usual. I think 40 is the normal time to get mammograms. But for me, they started me early because it's a no joke, medical history, family history. Just doing our regular breast self-examinations, You know, you have to hold your hand up and using
Forget the armpit.
exactly. Don't forget the armpit. Go all the way up, and you know, a lot of people think that the breast is just this area, but it goes all the way up into your armpits. You know, the nodes and stuff like that. So, you know, lying on your back, making sure you use the other arm.
Yes.
So those breast self-examinations, just so you can get to know your breast for yourself, so that if anything is off, you can kind of, right, exactly, you pick it up quickly. But for me, who has very lumpy breasts, it's hard. It's good to do it regularly so that you really become accustomed. And if you're not sure, you know, go see a doctor. It's not something to play with.
Cheyenne, thank you so much for sharing your story so far on your journey experiencing breast cancer through your mother. So stay tuned for part 2 of our 3-part series highlighting breast cancer awareness.
Axiom Pictures Limited, superior quality for lasting memories.